Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. This is your host, Erin Bradley. Thank you for tuning in today. And if it's your first time tuning into the show, welcome aboard. I'm so excited to be with you today with this episode. And if you've been tuning in for a while, I am over the moon and grateful for your support and for listening and following along. And today I want to share with all of you that if you are hearing this message, it's because it was meant for you. I am about to share some things that I've been nerding out on behind the scenes over here at Pursuing Freedom and some stories that have just been blowing my mind. And it's hopefully going to leave you not only a little bit fired up and inspired, but also ready to say yes to whatever it is that you feel called to next, which may be some leap of faith. It may be a decision to make a change, but you are called to something. You are meant for more. And it's the reason that you listen to podcasts like this. And the truth of the matter is, you are indeed actually meant for more, and you deserve everything that your heart desires. And I wanted to start by sharing that my friend Kelly Revoir this morning posted on her Instagram this quote that said, "I'm not everything I want to be yet, but I'm a lot of things I wanted to be years ago." And it really hit, and it literally inspired me to stop what I was doing and jump on here and record this episode for you guys because my wheels started turning as it correlated with something that we did at my women's retreat in Scottsdale in December of 2024, which was focused on the concept of the decade game. And I was heading into this retreat and I was preparing the material around the idea of this decade game and what would it look like if 2025 was the beginning of the next 10-year chapter of your life, and how with this, you can overestimate what you can accomplish in a year, but underestimate what you can accomplish in a decade. And so it just got my wheels turning in reflection. And I was thinking back to the previous 10 years and how 10 years prior, it was 2014. I had recently been on the brink of leaving my career, quitting the mortgage business, because frankly, Pursuing Freedom was born out of the struggle that I experienced when I didn't feel free, which I thought entrepreneurship was about freedom and flexibility. And I definitely didn't feel free when my credit card was being declined for a $2 cup of coffee a year after going 100% commission in 2008, like a genius, right? That didn't feel like freedom. And then when my business really took off in 2012 and more than doubled, I found myself working 24/7, grateful for the money coming in, earning more than I really ever expected. And I've heard this as a common theme, especially in the real estate space, where we don't know what we're capable of until it happens, right? And then all of a sudden, you're just riding the roller coaster, a slave to your own success and surviving the business that you work so hard to create. And this is where things get a little messy in the middle, because in my experience, at that point, I remember coming home after speaking to some people in my office that I considered to be ahead of me in the game, and they all admitted that they worked until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night most nights. And I thought to myself, why would I aspire to grow? Like, where do I go from here? And I came home and I said to my husband, I don't think I'm cut out for this business because I'm finally achieving quote unquote success. And if I'm honest, I'm crumbling inside. I'm becoming a shell of myself as a wife and a mom and a friend. I'm never feeling emotionally present, even when I'm physically in the same room. And I'm just wondering, how could I possibly want to grow from here? And this was really the beginning of Pursuing Freedom because, again, I didn't feel very free when I was barely surviving my own success. And I didn't feel free when the business dried up. And so I remember my first instinct was to shrink. In 2013, I thought if I could do less business, I'll be better off. And I've had this conversation with so many friends and colleagues and coaching clients over the years where they reach that tipping point, that max capacity where things start to plateau, but they also start to feel suffocating. And our first instinct is to pull back and try to do less. But as human beings, we're not here to play small. We're here to expand. And we know this because every time we achieve a new desire is born on the heels of it. I mean, how often do you stay reveling in the celebration of your achievement before you have a brand new idea? That is part of the human experience. We're not here to shrink. And that's why I love starting with that quote that I'm not everything I want to be yet. And I don't think I ever will be. Neither will you. We'll never be everything we want to be because on the heels of every achievement or accomplishment, there's a new desire that's born. But we can always recognize that we're a lot of the things we wanted to be years ago. And so it was in that year, 2013, that someone encouraged me to not quit, to not give up, and instead to find some help in my business. And so 2014 is when I started to begin the journey of scaling a business to have actual freedom, right? Freedom to grow my business without burnout, freedom to increase my income without sacrificing my sanity, time freedom to enjoy the money that I was making. And all along the while, I was just becoming so obsessed with sharing everything I was learning with anyone who resonated with what I was experiencing. And I learned very quickly I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one struggling with insecurity when I was trying to build my business. I wasn't the only one struggling with overwhelm when I was experiencing financial success, but I wasn't prepared for it. And so I went on a mission to start teaching everything I was learning. And again, that was kind of the beginning of the Pursuing Freedom journey. I think back now to that moment in 2014 when I hired one of my closest friends. We spent a couple months training in the business, and my number one fear came true. The business dried up. And I looked at her and I was like, okay, we're ready. I need to go do my part and bring in more business. And so as a result of making that leap of faith, taking that leap of faith and bringing a team member on and experiencing a slowdown on the heels of it initially, we then experienced exponential growth. Within 4 months, we were closing 12 transactions a month. Within 6 months, we were closing 17 transactions in 1 month, which is more than two people can handle easily. And so it became a very big eye opener. I had been my own bottleneck and I had been playing small on that roller coaster of highs and lows for the previous 8 years. I kept convincing myself I was better off trying to shrink when I started to reach that max capacity. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the solution. That's not the antidote. That's why I've been teaching these workshops every month for the past several months around how do you grow your business without the fear of burnout. So, what I've found is as people are coming to these workshops, we all are struggling with the same thing. It feels lonely at times, but you are not alone. So if you're interested in learning and joining me in this free workshop on how to grow your business without the fear of burnout, please hop over to pursuingfreedom.com/August and check it out. And if you're listening to this recording after the week of August 25th, you can always go back and watch the replay. But that's not really why I'm here today. Why I'm here today is to talk about what transpired in the following 10 years. So, starting with that first leap of faith in 2014, when I said, you know what, this is my turning point. Enough is enough. I'm not going to suck it up and survive this business. I'm going to do it my way. I'm here to have freedom and flexibility. I want it. I deserve it. And I'm going to create it for myself. And that's what I want you to leave this episode thinking to yourself. Are you really creating the reality that you were daydreaming about when you took that crazy leap of faith to become self-employed? Or are you just sucking it up and surviving and taking what you can get? This is your message. You're here for a reason to hear this message and this invitation to hear the call for more and to go for it and to create it. Because what I learned on the heels of that first crazy leap of faith was that my fear had been driving my decisions. And so as we continued, I realized, okay, so if I was the bottleneck, it became crystal clear. There is a light at the end of this tunnel, and it does require a little bit of support and some great systems. So we have a foundation strong enough to grow without everything crumbling at the foundational level, right? So we started to bring on a few more people. We started to fine tune our systems. And before long, I was faced with another I wish I could, but right, like another pipe dream that felt deep down inside ridiculous. And it started with talking to a coach about my 10-year plan to buy a condo in the mountains. And my coach said, why not now? And I stopped and thought to myself, I don't know. I guess I hadn't considered that I could do it sooner. So, what about you? Where do you have this deep wish, this pipe dream within you that is a someday? And have you ever stopped to consider why not now? Have you ever thought that maybe you're postponing something that you're ready for now, that you've been ready for a very long time, but that fear has been driving your decision to talk yourself out of it or talk yourself into staying put? Because stagnation is the enemy here. In my opinion, boredom creates burnout, stagnation creates resistance, and all of these things make things feel heavy, like a grind, and just really, really hard. So if you have always equated growth to feeling hard, of course you're going to be afraid to expand. But if there was a way for it to be easier, more interesting, more fun, more aligned with who you are, the person you are today, not the person you were when you started, would you be curious about it? I ended up buying that condo in the mountains and it became one of the best decisions of our lives. And within less than a year, we were taking another leap of faith to move full time to a ski town, even though my business was an hour and a half away, which felt ridiculous, irresponsible. I thought it was going to put me out of business. But in the end, it ended up creating a portal that opened the opportunity for us to double the business again because we opened an office in a new location. So before long, we were experiencing a level of expansion that I would never have been able to comprehend had I not started taking action in spite of fear. So all of this got me really excited to get more and more curious around how do we limit ourselves? And so this continued to go on as I continued to make decisions that felt terrifying inside my business, firing myself from things that didn't energize me anymore, even though I was good at it, even though I could do it with my eyes closed. It's a very common theme where we know how to do something, so we fear offloading it to somebody else, but we don't really love it. And as a result, our energy is drained and we find ourselves on this cycle of, I just have to do that. I need to do this. I should, right? Very heavy in obligation. And that's not what freedom feels like. Freedom feels like lightness, like curiosity, like satisfaction, contentment, joy, engagement, present moments. That's what freedom is. And we've got to curate that and cultivate it from within so that we can create a business that aligns with the feelings of freedom, not let freedom be some destination that we have to earn somewhere in the future. So as I continue to reflect on the 10 years leading up to 2024, as I was planning this retreat, I couldn't help but be blown away by how much had transpired in what felt like a very short amount of time. And so we started to look ahead to 2025. And in this, we started using the visual of a butterfly. And I've shared this on previous podcasts, but ultimately, the butterfly is fascinating because the caterpillar is crawling along slowly until it goes into the chrysalis where it dissolves. It literally dies and becomes the goop that's the food for the butterfly to become and to emerge as its full potential. And when it does, the butterfly has no cellular similarity to the caterpillar. And so as I reflected back in 2024 on all of the things that continued to transpire, like taking a 6-month RV road trip with our kids and homeschooling during COVID, I thought that would put me out of business. It did not. Taking a huge leap of faith at the end of 2022 and retiring my mortgage license to make pursuing freedom my primary focus was absolutely terrifying. And it became the best decision of my life. And so, again, I come back to the quote that I started with, I'm not everything I want to be yet, but I'm a lot of things I wanted to be years ago. And I sat with that this morning. I couldn't help but smile, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm actually living inside of a pipe dream of a former me. And yet I'm full of desires for where I want to go from here and the expansion and the growth and the impact and the collaboration and the fun. I'm always so excited about where we're going from here, right? And it was just so fascinating to think back to that moment in 2013 when I had almost quit the business, and that moment in 2014 when I made that very first leap of faith to hire somebody into my business, even though I had no idea how or what I was doing, and how that ended up evolving into expanding a small organization of amazing people in multiple geographic locations and serving many more families than I ever could have imagined. My reality in 2024, like the butterfly, had no cellular similarity to my reality as the caterpillar crawling into 2014, full of self-doubt. So here we are in 2025, and I'm looking ahead to where we can go from here. And even as I've been developing the coaching business, Pursuing Freedom, I've been listening and pivoting and evaluating and allowing myself to continue to build something that feels aligned with who I am, not who I think I should be, not what other people are doing, but what feels like a yes to me. So with that, I ended up developing a community called The Collective. And you may have heard me talk about it, but I've never really shared what's going on inside of The Collective because it's been absolutely blowing my mind. So in 2023, as I embarked full-time into coaching and speaking, I started by doing 6-month programs, 4-week programs, 2-week programs, 12-week programs, all different kinds of programs. And what I realized was I found fatigue in the sales process. That's not ever really been my zone of genius or my most enjoyable part of being in business. My most enjoyable part of business has always been being a connector, building community, supporting other business owners, spotlighting them to bring more value to my clients. And so in that first year, 2023, I noticed that I was feeling a little energetically drained by starting and ending and starting and ending and having to constantly start over. And I also didn't love the fact that as my students, my clients were starting to experience transformation, the program will come to an end. And so I decided I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have one community and call it the collective. And we opened it in 2024. And we have had nothing short of miraculous results. I have had lenders that have told me that 2024 was their best year ever, and they're on track to double it this year. That same lender told me this month in August, she has 10 closings. I had a member join in April, and in June, a real estate agent, she had 7 closings, her best month ever. I had an agent join last summer who was in a bit of a slump or a funk after just navigating some life events, the shifting market, all the things. And within 6 weeks of being in the program, she went from 0 under contract to 5 under contract. And I checked in with her a couple weeks back, and she texted me back and said she had 7 under contract, 3 listing appointments that day, and more. It just kept coming. She said it was crazy. And all I keep thinking to myself is, what is going on here? How is this possible? How is it that we are living in a bubble of abundance inside the collective, even though there's so much struggle in the industry? And so I've been getting deeply curious about this and really digging into it. Like, what is going on? What is the shift that unlocks the ability to create a quantum leap in spite of circumstances not changing one bit? Nothing has changed in the market with the rates, with the inventory, the economy, nothing has changed. So why is it that I can see individuals go from stuck to thriving? And it's a shift that happens within us. It comes from that place of curiosity of what would be interesting. How can I make this fun again? So many people miss the opportunity to ask themselves that question because they've always associated success with hard. And what I'm finding time and again, not just for myself, but in my community, is that there are a lot of people that slow down to really ask that question. And when they find the answer to what would make this fun, what would make this interesting, who are the relationships that energize me, and how can I uproot the ones that are draining me in spite of my fear, those are the ones that unlock the magic and all of a sudden see this exponential growth. So if it's available to anyone, it's available to everyone. And so if you're curious about the collective, we meet live every Tuesday, Thursday in group coaching. And much like I did with my mortgage business, and like I teach in my book, Pursuing Freedom, and in my boot camp, instead of needing to promote myself and it be all about the Erin Bradley show, which never feels comfortable for most of us, right? Like, no, most of us don't want to promote ourselves. And so we end up in hiding, trying to be the secret agent who's not getting any business, right? So what I teach is, can you find a way to link arms with other service providers that can bring value to your community? Can you overwhelm your clients with value even when they don't need your services? And so as the collective has evolved, it's also evolved into a coaches collective. So I bring on guest coaches. Some of them are active agents, they're team leaders. Some have relocated to different geographic regions while running their business in other places. Some have achieved early retirement through different investment strategies they teach. Some teach tactical strategies, AI strategy. I mean, everything under the sun. So it's not limited to what Erin Bradley can deliver. It's limitless based on the growing network of collaborators that I'm bringing in. And it's been so much fun because we're creating this ripple effect. And so I ended up getting myself deep in thought about the fact that some people will say to me, I'm not sure I'm ready for the collective. And as the collective has evolved, it's really been supportive of those agents and lenders who are at the 6-figure level and they really need some systems and support. And so you've got the proof of concept, you've got some closings under your belt, maybe you've been in this for years or even decades, and you're just needing to reignite the flame within you. The collective is a great place to do that, to reimagine the future of your business and design it in alignment with who you are, where you want to go from here. And we do focus quite a bit on getting the support in place to unlock the bottleneck and allow you to have more fun and grow your business beyond your personal capacity and without the burnout. But then we have all these other agents and lenders out there that are just feeling stuck, that are saying, I want to grow my business. I want to get to that level. And so I'm so excited to say we just opened the Academy, and the Academy gives you access to everything in the members portal. The only thing really that's missing is that I'm not able to be with you live every Tuesday, Thursday, but we are live once a month in a Q&A call where I can provide live group coaching. And it's only $49 a month. You get access to all the self-paced lessons. You also get access to all the recorded guest coaching appearances. So it's continually growing as we add more coaches and we add more sessions, training sessions on everything from tactical to scaling to systems, marketing, technology, AI, all the things. So with that, as members come into the academy and they start going through the material and they start to experience the traction, they know that the collective is waiting when they're ready to get the support they need to implement systems and scale, hire help, and really start to grow beyond that personal capacity. So it has been so much fun to connect with agents and lenders and see this growing community, this national referral network. There's been collaborations, there's been referrals, there's been support. It's so much fun. And honestly, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while and you're out there in secret and you're thinking this sounds kind of interesting, but you're not sure, just reach out to me. I want to connect with you. I don't do this podcast so that I can just put it out in the ether and hope it gets heard. I do it because I genuinely want to change lives. I've seen what's possible in my own life when I take that leap of faith in spite of fear. And I've seen it happen. It's happening right now inside my community. And I want more of you to have access to it. So check out pursuingfreedom.com/academy if you want to learn more about that community. There are no obligations. You can go month to month. I really have no worries whatsoever. If it's meant for you, it's going to change your life. If it's not too much skin off your back to check it out. It's only $49 a month. Or you can check out the collective and we can hang out twice a week and we can really create that radical transformation that you're craving. Just know that I'm here. We're all here waiting for you. And it is going to be so much fun to get to link arms and grow and elevate by association and by collaboration. So I invite you to reach out to me, connect with me, DM me on Instagram at Pursuing Freedom Official. Whatever you feel called to, don't be an inspiration junkie, be an action junkie. End this call and take some action. I hope I get to connect with you soon. I love you. I appreciate you. We'll see you next time.